Everybody knows to some extent the power of the mainstream media and its ability to shape public opinions. Many are aware that the pointless information that they present to the masses as if it were something of importance is designed to create a self-fulfilling prophecy and try to give the appearance that it is actually important, as well as the complete blackout and non-coverage of issues that should often be the top story. But adding to the confusion is the fact that prominent members of the conservative mainstream media, who claim daily to be fighting the deep state, never actually scratch beyond the surface of partisan politics and never address the true power structure operating behind the scenes. Instead, these hosts will focus on partisan issues, many of which are of little significance, and they'll never address key issues such as the Bilderberg Group, the Bohemian Grove, or Operation Mockingbird. Intelligent people have varying degrees of suspicion that the U.S. government is in bed with the American mainstream media, and anyone who monitors the news with discerning eyes can quite easily identify specific stories and strategies that are being used to persuade and intimidate the population. For those who want evidence of such manipulation, one needs to look no further than the findings of a Senate Select Committee in 1975, which confirms this has occurred for decades on a scale larger than most people could imagine. Through their investigation, it became clear that such a program was developed in the 1950s for the purpose of persuading American and foreign media, as well as to use the media as gatekeepers to prevent certain information from being published and reaching the masses. It's called Operation Mockingbird because a mockingbird repeats what it hears, songs from other birds, just like the media outlets repeat what they hear from their handlers in the CIA. In 1948, an espionage and counterintelligence branch within the CIA was created for the purpose of spreading propaganda, engaging in economic warfare, and giving assistance to underground resistance groups to engage in subversion against what were seen as hostile regimes. And later that year, Operation Mockingbird was established with the goal of influencing domestic and foreign media. Philip Graham, the owner of the Washington Post at the time, was first recruited to help set up and run the project within the industry and develop a network of assets who were also recruited. In the early 1950s, Operation Mockingbird had influence over 25 different newspapers and wire agencies, and this network of intelligence assets also involved major television broadcasters, including William Paley, the CEO of CBS. Thomas Braden, who was the head of the International Organizations Division, the IOD, which was a division in the CIA dealing with human intelligence services, would later reveal that, quote, if the director of the CIA wanted to extend a present, say, to someone in Europe, a labor leader, suppose he thought this man could use $50,000, he's working well and doing a good job, he could just hand it to him and never have to account to anybody. There was simply no limit to the money it could spend, and no limit to the people it could hire, and no limit to the activities it could decide were necessary to conduct the war, the secret war. It was international. According to the congressional report published by the Church Committee, which uncovered Operation Mockingbird, quote, the CIA currently maintains a network of several hundred individuals around the world who provide intelligence for the CIA and at times attempt to influence public opinion through the use of covert propaganda. These individuals provide the CIA with direct access to a large number of newspapers and periodicals, scores of press services and news agencies, radio and television stations, commercial book publishers, and other foreign media outlets. The committee also concluded that the cost of the program was approximately $265 million a year, which, when adjusted for inflation as of 2023, means that in today's dollars, the program cost nearly $1.5 billion a year. After the Church Committee released its findings on Operation Mockingbird, Rolling Stone magazine published an article written by Carl Bernstein of Watergate fame, who named various prominent journalists he alleged were involved with it. Some of these included Ben Bradley, who wrote for Newsweek, Stuart Alsop, who wrote for the New York Herald Tribune, James Reston from the New York Times, Charles Douglas Jackson, a writer for Time magazine, Walter Pincus from the Washington Post, William C. Baggs of the Miami News, and others. In 2007, a large amount of documents known as the Family Jewels were declassified and released by the National Security Archive, which also revealed that the CIA had routinely wiretapped illegally, Washington-based reporters who were seen as a threat to the establishment because they weren't playing along with the propaganda and gatekeeping efforts within the media establishment. And just like every other case of rampant institutional corruption in government agencies, once it was discovered, the CIA claims to have ended the program, which is laughable. And sadly, Carl Bernstein realized that he couldn't beat them, so he decided to join them and has functioned as an Operation Mockingbird for many years now, under the disguise of being a CNN contributor. Since the internet has been a haven for independent journalists and countless alternative news sites, along with bloggers who have gained large followings of people who don't rely on mainstream corporate news to get their information, this posed a major problem for the establishment. The major broadcast TV and radio networks, as well as cable channels, require tens of millions of dollars worth of equipment and expensive services such as satellite feeds, camera crews in order to function. But the internet had opened the door for one individual, the website, costing only a few dollars a month, to have the potential to reach millions of people simply by posting their own articles or videos. Even before social media, people were able to copy and paste a link from a blog and send it out to their email list, and a simple blog written by an ordinary person could go viral. So, of course, the establishment saw the dangers that blogs and non-mainstream media websites held for their monopoly of information. So they decided to use prominent bloggers as paid propagandists, just like the talking heads in mainstream media. In 2006, a report from the Joint Special Operations University titled Blogs and Military Strategy outlined this plan, saying that they should hire a block of bloggers to verbally attack specific people or promote specific messages. And the report also suggested that the government hack blogs of those seen as detrimental to the propaganda that they want to spread, and just start changing around a few words or post fake articles that are then attributed to the original blogger. But then came social media, an extremely powerful way for people to communicate with each other and reach large numbers of people. So the government got to work and set up a new program in order to flood social media with Operation Mockingbird propaganda. The US government launched a program called Operation Earnest Voice sometime around 2011, using specially created software that allows them to create and manage fake social media profiles or sock puppet accounts of dozens or even hundreds of fake people in order to use them for propaganda purposes to not just post content online, but then create an entire comment thread to create a false consensus around that material, or so that one person could flood the replies of other people's posts in order to steer the conversations and overall appearance of the comment section. They claim they only do this on websites and social media platforms outside the United States because technically, until President Obama amended the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act in 2012, it was a violation of U.S. law for the military to create or distribute propaganda aimed at our own citizens. But we know how close the government follows the law. In fact, the Twitter files, the internal communications published by Elon Musk after he took over the company, revealed that Operation Earnest Voice was using Twitter, although the name of the operation wasn't mentioned in the Twitter files. It's obvious that's what it was because the activities were identical. The Twitter files confirmed that under the leadership of Jack Dorsey, the company whitelisted or allowed CENTCOM, U.S. Central Command, to operate fake accounts to sway public opinion in places like Iraq, Syria, Kuwait, Yemen, and elsewhere in the Middle East. Every country engages in information warfare, and today that means flooding social media with bots and trolls to promote certain topics and attack certain people and disrupt various comment threads. The London Guardian surprisingly admitted in 2015 that, quote, Israel Defense Forces have pioneered state military engagement with social media with dedicated teams operating since Operation Cast Lead, its war in Gaza in 2008 and 2009. The IDF is active on 30 platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, in 6 languages. China is known to have used sock puppet accounts on Twitter and YouTube, and everybody knows that Russia used social media to sow discord in the 2016 presidential election, promoting both pro-Trump and anti-Trump content, causing Democrats to have a meltdown. We can never forget, though, that the Russians didn't support Donald Trump. That's a half-truth. They also attacked him and supported Black Lives Matter because They just wanted to cause chaos and further destabilize the United States. One of the biggest Black Lives Matter Facebook pages, called Blacktivist, meaning black activist, get it? Which had over 360,000 followers, was part of Russia's information war against the United States, since there was no easier way to cause division and fan the flames of racism than get behind Black Lives Matter, a Marxist movement. And let's not forget that Michael Moore helped promote and attend a protest outside of Trump Tower in New York City that was actually organized by Russia as part of their social media manipulation campaign. Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati secret society back in the late 1700s, which, contrary to popular belief, is a historical fact, founded in Bavaria, Germany, and then later spread throughout Europe and into the United States under the cover of the Skull and Bones Brotherhood at Yale. He knew the power of controlling information 250 years ago, and in one of his letters, which were confiscated by the authorities back then once the Illuminati was discovered, he wrote, quote, "By establishing reading societies and subscription libraries and taking these under our direction and supplying them through our labors, we may turn the public mind which way we will." Meaning whatever way they want. Reading societies were like book clubs because obviously back then there was no television or radio, so people read books and often got together to drink and discuss politics and philosophy. In this particular letter, he went on to say that in like manner, they need to obtain influence in the military academies and in the printing houses, and take control of the printing presses, in the bookstores, and in short, any office that has any effect in forming or managing the mind of man. He and his fellow Illuminists also understood how controlling newspapers could be used to smear their enemies. One correspondence reads, quote, "We get all the literary journals. We take care by well-timed pieces or articles to make the citizens and the princes a little more noticed for certain little slips." Their certain little slips refers to anything they say or do that will not be looked at favorably by the public, and the Illuminati's well-timed pieces will be sure to inform people of this if they didn't like that person. So as you can see, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm Mark Dice, your trusted media analyst, and if you like my reports like this, then you'll really love reading my books because they're a lot more in-depth and hardcore than my videos. So order The True Story of Fake News or Hollywood Propaganda, How TV, Movies, and Music Shape Our Culture, or if you dare, Inside the Illuminati, Evidence, Objectives, and Methods of Operation in paperback from Amazon.com, or download the ebooks from any of the major ebook stores. And of course, there's a link to the Amazon listing in the description below, so click it and head on over there and check them out.